Hey everybody, my name is Teresa. I'm a foster parent, and today I want to talk to you about building a community that can help support you and your foster youth as you start on your own journey. Okay, so the very first thing that I want to talk about is mental health. I have notes here, so if I'm looking down, it's because I have notes, because I have no memory. So, mental health is what I want to talk about. If you have the means to get a therapist, that is a key member of a community. It is going to do you so much good. You can look into doing like marriage counseling. That might be something that's very, very helpful. But at the very least, having a therapist that you can go and talk to and work through things in real time as they're happening. Foster care is nothing if not just change, change, change. So it's very, very helpful to have a sounding board to work through things with. And also, you're going to find that you have triggers that are going to come up as you're parenting these children, and being able to have a safe place to explore those feelings and also to work towards healing yourself and being the best parent that you can be to these kids is going to be very important. Another thing you can look at getting involved in is a support group. You can do online or you can do in-person support groups. They're both great. They both have their place, and I would highly suggest getting a support group. So that in the mental health. Another thing I'd say for mental health is babysitters. Look into what your options are for babysitting, even if it's just once a month. If you can do once every 2 weeks as a date night. You can also get creative of doing date nights at home, which we could talk about at a different time. But having some babysitters to where you know you have some scheduled time away to get back on the same page, to talk about some more of the hard things. If you have kids who have very good hearing, that you don't feel comfortable talking about it in the evening after they go to bed or something like that. You can look at respite, but respite is sometimes hard to find. So some other things you can look at is friends and family. You can look at doing a babysitting swap. You could even look at getting a gym membership that has childcare and going to the gym and getting on the treadmill and walking and talking, right? You can do that. It's not the most ideal, but we've done that before in desperate situations where we really need some time to reconnect, but we can't find a babysitter. And you can also do paid sitters, of course. Another thing to think about is your professional team. The first 30 days of a new placement or new placements, if it's siblings, I call the crisis period. So I am very careful about the first 30 days. My priority is to have as much on autopilot as possible, and to spend those 30 days trying to get to know the humans that are in my home. So the only problem is the first 30 days, you have a ton of other things happening. You have a bunch of doctor's appointments. You have a bunch of paperwork you need to do. You're going to have visits like crazy from all of the people. And so trying to balance those two things can be very, very tricky. I would suggest doing your research before you get to placements. Know who the kid's pediatrician is going to be. Know who their eye doctor is going to be. Know who their dentist is going to be. Know that they accept Medicaid, that they're accepting new patients, all of those kind of things. Find those three you for sure are going to have. Also, it'd be very helpful if you already had one or two ideas of where to go for PT, speech, and OT, and then a play therapist. So that's like your core team. And if you find people who you like, who fit whatever the criteria is that you're looking for already, you already know who they are. You're not trying to do research. You're not trying to figure out who do I choose from the 15 providers in my area. You already know, and you just streamline that process. Another thing that you can look into, if you are going to be caring for infants or under 3, you can look into BabyNet. Be familiar with BabyNet. Be familiar with early intervention services and service providers, and also have an idea of how WIC is going to work, what that process looks like. The more you can know, the more that's not going to take mental energy when you're already at your capacity of what you can handle mentally and emotionally as you're getting to know new people and your family dynamic is changing. That's not the time to do that. Do it before, and then that's going to make things very, very easy. I had a friend on one of my foster placements. I had a friend who came over, and literally I'm like, can you just research A, B, C, and D providers and just like make the phone calls and figure out who's accepting and like, can you just do that for me? I don't have it in me to do. And they were all about it. They were like, absolutely, like I can do that, And so ask people, that's a great thing too. But the more you can have preemptively, the better off you're going to be. So those are some ideas for community members. The last thing I want to talk about is, of course, friends. My gosh, is it not hard to find friends? It's hard for all of us, I'm sure. But if you're an introverted person like I am, it's a doozy to find friends. And I also don't love to talk about my personal, like our foster care dynamics that much. So it's very hard to find people, but it's worth doing. We were parents before we started fostering. All of our friends were parents. So we already had a good foundation of people with kids the same age to go do park play dates with and to go have that kind of a relationship with. If that's not your situation, it's worth finding some mom friends or dad friends. But also, if you can get in contact with other foster families, that is like an oasis. That is a haven of friendship, especially if you can find another foster family that shares your same vision. The amount of support that you can get from them and they can get from you is really going to help you feel like you're not alone, you're in this together, and that you can push through, right? You can get to the finish line. You can support and advocate and deal with the hard things. That support is going to be instrumental. If your family and friends are not on board, try to see if maybe they'd be open to education, to understanding why you're doing this. And if you can get them on board, if you can get them to come alongside of you in any capacity, it's also going to help you feel less alone. It's the big thing you want to avoid. You want to avoid feeling like you've taken on this huge thing and now nobody understands, and you're fighting all of the things alone. So your community, that's what you're there for. Talk to your church, see if they're willing to do a meal train for you when you get a new placement. They might be. A lot of churches are willing to do stuff. People are willing to help. People don't know how to help. So the more you can be clear on what you need and ask people to do it, the better off you're going to be. Remember, if you're trying to foster for the long haul, for multiple children, you want this to be part of your home culture. The more people you can have behind you who are supporting you, the better. So I hope this was helpful. I hope these are some things to think about. And remember that if you're in a situation where you already have foster placements or you're in kinship and the kids are already with you and you're like, I don't have any of this, don't be overwhelmed. Okay, we didn't have many of these things at all. We didn't have anything but like a couple family members who were in support of what we were doing. We were totally clueless, and we're here 3 years later. We have built more of a community, and we got through it, and you're going to get through it. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask what resources are out there. Get plugged in as quick as you can, but take a breath. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Your kids are going to be okay. Remember, all of you, that you are loved, that you guys are worthy of good things, and that you are not alone. Until next time.